Hi there. Today we're making chayote kimchi for you. And I was really excited to find this recipe from Mangchi because we had a ton of really awesome looking chayote squash from Food Commune and wanted to figure out a way to preserve it without necessarily having to can or pickle it. For this recipe, we had most of the ingredients on hand already, aside from the chayote, which, again, in abundance, very excited about that. So we start off by harvesting green onions that we have regrown from scraps. I haven't bought green onions in quite some time. Fish sauce we already had from Food Commune a couple weeks ago. Coarse kosher salt I think we got from an estate sale a couple months back. Gochugaru, yes, my brother did buy that at some point. The onion that's pictured here we got from a dumpster. The garlic we did purchase at some point. The ginger we did purchase at some point. But the large bulk of the ingredients we really just kind of had on hand, which is always exciting. When you're processing the ginger and the garlic and the onion, no need to chop too finely. Save yourself some work. It's all going to go in the blender anyway. We are really passionate about reducing food waste. Just because something is slightly imperfect doesn't mean that it's not good enough to eat and really enjoy. And we found it, great for saving money, but also giving us a sense that we are slowing in our own small part the really big societal issues around food waste. These chayote were really nice because there wasn't much of a seed to them, and you don't need to peel the chayote either. Once the seed's been removed from the chayote, you're going to cut them into slices and then cube them. One of the really nice things about this recipe is that the chayote squash retains some level of crunch. So the finished product is kind of similar to radish kimchi, which is probably a lot more traditional. We invited a Korean friend over and she said, "Chayote kimchi? Never heard of such a thing." Neither had I. Either way is super tasty. And this is a dish that's great with rice or with other kind of Asian fusion, Asian inspired dishes you may have. But I love this because you don't have to turn on your stove, and it's a really great way to extend the life of this really awesome chayote squash that we got. Use the smallest bowl possible to salt your chayote. And then we're going to mix up the chayote so the salt gets evenly incorporated throughout. And then you're going to let this sit for about half an hour. But while you let it sit, you can prep the rest of the recipe. We're very intense when we measure our ingredients, by the way. Add that to the ginger, garlic, onion. We're using our trusty magic bullet for this. Take a break to measure gochugaru, preferably spill some on the counter, and then pour some of the chayote brine into the blender. Feel free to drop a chunk of chayote in there as well. Oops, that's my bad. I'm gonna give that blitz. Pour the blended liquid onto the chayote, add gochugaru, and from here on, it's just mixing, mixing, mixing. How I found this recipe from Mangchi is actually through an app that I love to use called Supercook. So it's free. You can just plug in what you already have in your pantry and fridge, and it will generate recipe suggestions based on, again, what you have. In our kind of perpetual battle against food waste, I've found Supercook to be one of the most effective tools. I'm hoping that you can do something on your end too to live a little more sustainably, live a little bit more mindfully, and reduce waste in your own life. Divide it into jars or other fermentation vessels. Make a big mess while you do it and drop more chayote on the counter. Listen, we all make mistakes. No one's perfect at avoiding food waste. Just check out all the chayote I've dropped on the counter. I think it's really about doing what we can, when we can, and making our best attempts at it. We have these fancy fermentation weights to try and compress the squash down. It's optional though. I think it'll naturally extrude more water as it sits. And from there, you're basically done. You can eat right away, or you can pack into jars and let it sit for a day or two at room temperature to ferment. It's not traditional, very spicy, very delicious. Enjoy. See you next time.